So why do we do program review? If so, Kelly and Melograno stated that program review is the process of determining and communicating program merit and areas that need to be reviewed for potential revisions. So the first one is program merit. Why is this a good program? Why should we still continue it? What are we doing well with it? What can we improve on? That's the potential revisions. How can we make it better? You're really justifying your program. And Jewett, Bain, and Ennis in '95 said that program review is to make program improvement, just to make it better. We have a few more additional purposes why we do program review, is we want to document the validity and importance of expectations, our goals and objectives of the program. We want to show that our students are meeting those, and we want to show how important those are. We also want to document the way in which the program is being implemented. We said we have this curriculum, and now we're showing that it's actually been implemented in this method. Program review also determines the effectiveness of program on participants. Are the students actually learning what we hope for them to learn? Is it effective? Are the teachers being effective? Is the curriculum being effective? In addition, it provides information-based recommendations for revisions necessary to reduce identified weakness. Again, it's not based on, I think this is what's going on. We have data-based information that's telling us for sure this is what's happening, this is what the data is telling us, let's make these changes so we can make our program better. So it's not weak, it's a strong program. I believe the textbook does a good job in developing a program review process. The thing with it is we know the different components are linked to one another. In order to do the program review process, you need to develop your assessment sheets as described in chapters 7 and 11. And it's from those student assessment sheets you're going to use that data to do your program review. The really critical point of all this is that the program review must be data driven and not opinion based. Use hard data to prove that your program is being successful or not successful. It's not if all your students dressed out. It's did they meet the learning objectives, specific learning objectives, and you assess that student learning. So you need to develop quality assessment and grading instruments. Again, that's in chapters 7 and 11. What it basically boils down to in the ABC model for the program review is to answer 3 questions. This is on page 267 and the preceding pages. The questions are, is the program producing the desired results? Is the program being implemented as intended? Is the program plan appropriate? We're going to look at each one of these in a little bit more detail now. First question, is the program producing the desired results? This is typically done, it can be done at the student level, but the textbook suggests that it's better if it's done at the district level. The assumption here is that all the schools in the district are using the same assessment tools, that you have a district-wide curriculum, and all the teachers are using the same objectives, the same program goals throughout the district. And so those are the assumptions here. Okay, we're just going to make the assumption that that's what we're talking about here. If not, you do it at the school level. Okay, we want to know if the students are actually learning our objectives and our goals. And if you look on page 268 of your book, you'll see that on figure 12.4 we have the ABC school district's physical education evaluation report. And this is the average percentage mastery by grade and program objective. And with this report, we can clearly identify which objectives students are mastering and which ones they're not. And on the chart there, the highlighted boxes are the mastery targets that students should reach. And the target for this district is that greater than 90% of the students have shown to master the particular target objectives at the end of the appropriate grade range. Now, on the skip objective, grade 2, only 55% of the students met the mastery level, so they have a lower rate there. They didn't meet the objective for that. Why didn't those students meet that objective? And so you have to answer that question. You got to figure out why they didn't. If you look at the next page on 269 at figure 12.5, what this chart is, it's multiple teachers by one objective. So you have a class data for one objective for many different teachers. So if you look at the table, you have all the different teachers. You have they did a pre-test, so the class mean entry for each one of these teachers, and the objective here is forehand tennis stroke. Class average, target average, class mean target average. Then the class mean exit is what, when they finished the lesson, retested them, and then what was their scores by teacher. Class mean gain, how much did they improve? Percentage class meeting target. The lowest one there is going to be by Kowalski. Mastery criteria is 7, and percentage of class meeting to mastery about half. And then teacher Brennan had a really low class average, percent mastery, and this kind of tells you how all the teachers in the program, how they did in that one particular objective. And you can look at all the different objectives by using this data. And again, this district level. Next question to look at is the program being implemented as intended? This is done by each teacher, or it can be done at the grade or program level. If it's done by the teacher level, you want to identify, or ID, areas where students are not progressing and determine why they're not progressing. Now at the program or grade level, you identify larger program problems with several teachers to resolve the problem. Now, like, the thing is, at the teacher level, you want to blame the students. It ain't my fault, it's the students. That may be true, but we need to also look at what we're doing as teachers to make sure it's not just the students' fault, but it's also, do we take some responsibility in that too, as teachers? So we need to determine who is not progressing and figure out why they're not progressing. Now on page, page 266, you'll see figure 12.2. We need to review the class evaluation report and analyze what the data says. And so if you look at this objective, this is a grade report for the different objectives, and the one we want to point out that a textbook points out is the tennis serve. If you look at that one, has the lowest percentage of class meeting the target at a little over 78%, and the percentage of class meeting to mastery only at 60%. And so, whatever reason, the tennis serve had the lowest score in that class. So you got to figure out how that can be fixed, and what was going on there. Then what you want to do is go back a couple pages to page 264 to figure 12.1, and that's the actual grading sheet for the tennis overhead serve, which is the lower one for in the table or the figure 12.2 of the tennis serve, and figure out which you can learn, review the student assessment, and see if you can figure out what the problem was. Sometimes it might be helpful to be journaling during the school year so you can remember things, so at the end of the year you can review all the material. The point again is to figure out what happened, why the students did not meet the mastery level that you had set up. Was it the student? Was it the curriculum? Was it the teacher? What was the problem? And our last question that we want to answer is the program plan appropriate? Is our curriculum good? Does it work? This is done as a program review committee. You can have all the teachers or just a representation of the teachers in the program. Again, is the program working? That's what we're really asking here. Critical thing is we want to use data. We don't want to just use our opinions. We want to use hard data, the data that shows us the big picture. The big picture is is it working? Now with computers, a lot of stuff can be done on computers, and so we really can do a lot of this stuff with Excel and some other spreadsheets, and some people are just gifted with a lot of stuff, so allow those people who have the strengths and the gifts in these type of areas to allow them to do that, because that's what they're good at. Now if you look at page 273, figure 12.7, this is data of how all students in 8th grade performed on the objectives. And so this gives us a whole bunch of good data to tell us how all the students in that 8th grade, which in this one there's 232 students, all the teachers, so this is all the teachers' data pushed into one worksheet, and it gives us our pre-measures on a class mean entry, class target, where we want them on all these different objectives, the exit, the post-assessment, how much they gained, what percentage of class met the targets for the 8th grade class. Most of them, the lowest score was a 96.61 in the knowledge of rules test, mastery criteria, and they give the criteria and how much percentage of the students made that criteria, and the lower one again is the knowledge of rules test, and the average class average percentage mastery, and again that one's the lowest one, so we probably need to spend more time on the cognitive end of things in our classes. I mean, we're not doing as much teaching on the rules as we should. Another thing I think it's kind of helpful is the end of instruction objective evaluation worksheets, and that's on page 275. It's a nice worksheet. You have each teacher for each objective fill out the worksheet, and it gives you some more, it's called qualitative data, which is not numbers, it's words to help you understand what's working, what's not working from the teacher's viewpoint, to get more feedback, to make recommendations for improvement, what things worked, what didn't work, and all those type of things. The critical thing here is the program review data should be reported annually. Should be done every single year after this school year is done. You need to document your needs, record any changes that you made or will make, what kind of improvements can you make, report your successes, partial successes, and always you want to justify your program. Who knows, one day it just may save your job. If they want to cut your program because we don't have the money for it, you can show the success of your program over the years. And the other thing, it's always nice to have, if students have positive things to say about your program, those are always nice to have in those reports also.